Okay, so we have come to today is chapter 17. So nice of you all to be with me for so many days. Shadatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the divisions of faith. So let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananka Shalakaya Chakshumitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what did we do yesterday, chapter 16? So Krishna was talking about two qualities, the divine and the demonic qualities. So the divine qualities are the one who will attain liberation by performing acts for self-realization. So they will follow the scriptures and they escape the gates of hell. The three gates we talked about, lust, then anger and greed. Okay, so that is the thing, they don't have that. And we saw the 26 qualities he explained, right? And then the ones who don't go for degrades are the ones demonic in nature. They reject the scriptures. They act victimically and they think that having wealth and power and thing, they can do anything. And so they have the demonic mentality. And they are miserable because the thing, and they are out of by the three gates of hell. So we saw that. And this actually in chapter 15, we have seen the inverted banyan tree, isn't it? So these divine qualities and demonic are the two extremes of it. Like, the pious people are trying to go up in auspicious activities, whereas impious are going down, the branches down. So we see the two extremes of this banyan tree, divine and this. So now in this chapter, is going to be in between. And it starts again with a query from Arjuna. So he is asking about unauthorized worship. He says, okay, there are people, they may not follow the Vedic scriptures, but they'll have some kind of their own way of worshipping. They have their own faith and they have some faith in thing. And what about them? What about them in their success? So Krishna answers that it's the three modes of nature. We saw, three modes of nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So Sattva Guna, Rajas Guna, and Tamas Guna. So they are the ones which will determine one's faith and worship. So he is explaining that. And he also gives examples through their lifestyle. What are the foods they eat, they take, and the sacrifices they do. So in that, by giving those examples, he's explaining how their faith and the worship is. And then he talks about three kinds of austerity. The austerity of mind, speech, and the body. Okay. And austerity in the three modes. Again, he talks about in the three modes. and then charity in 3 modes. So we talk about faith, sacrifices, austerity, and the charity. And then he concludes with Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat is used normally in the Vedic mantras, and even Lord Brahmaji, when he was given the Vedas, he uttered these Om Tat Sat. So finally he concludes with that. So let us see what in more detail. And this is the different aspects of lifestyle, and this we can relate it to our lifestyle. Today what is happening, and think it is easy to relate to that. Okay. Okay, so Vajit can't come for it because he's having some net problem. But he can see later the YouTube. Okay. So we come to, so what did Arjuna ask? Oh Krishna, what is the situation of one who does not follow the principles of scriptures but worships according to his own imagination? Is he in goodness or in passion or in ignorance? So there, this is what Arjuna is asking. What is the situation of them who don't follow the Shastra? So when one does not base his faith in Shastric injunctions, his faith becomes based upon his mentality. Okay, and we see a lot of things, in the net, many things, like we have given here Flying Spaghetti Master, then Scientology. Flying Spaghetti Master, it says that it is by some American Henderson. It's light-hearted religion. They oppose the evolution taught in the class. I think they have their own kind of faith, and they're following such kind of thing. And Scientology is a set of beliefs and practices invented by American author Rob Hubbard. And these are things there in the net. They have their own way of faith, and they don't believe in the normal shastras. So, but they have faith in something. Faith in something they have. Okay. So now Arjuna wants to know what is the what happens to such people who don't follow the shastras, the principles of scriptures, which all the while Krishna was talking. Even in chapter 15, he said about the Vedic scriptures. And again in the previous chapter, he says people who don't follow the scriptures, they are the demonic nature and this. Actually, in between, there'll be these people with it's not completely black and white, like they're saying the end of it. They'll have some different shades of gray you can think of. So, and what did we say about the 3 modes of nature? So he says whether they're in which mode. And this is a very example I just took it so that, it is clearly you can see. These are the 3 brothers, Ravana, Vibhushana, and the Kuber, that is one who sleeps, no? Kuber.
Kumbhakarna.
Kumbhakarna. Okay, so this is, we can say Vibhushana is in the mode of goodness, Ravana is in Rajas Gun, and Kumbhakarna is in Tamas Gun. Okay, so that's in which how they are things. So now what does Krishna say? Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Trivida Bhavati Shraddha Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja Satviki Rajasi Chaiva Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu. So he keeps on telling Arjuna, listen, you listen. The Supreme Lord said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: goodness, passion, or ignorance. Now hear about these. So he's saying, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. So what about the faith? Faith is something, we all put faith. We all have faith in something or the other. It is not something we just, we have faith, like we live for the next year and we plan so many activities. We put faith in the traffic lights. We have faith in the doctors. And even in the banks, we put our money, faithfully saying that it will be secure there. So many things in our life, we always have faith in the, otherwise we cannot live. So we have faith in something or the other. But normally religious people are often referred to as people of faith because everyone has. In reality, all of us have faith in something or other. To faith means to see some opportunity we'll have some reward and value. We think like that, for that way we work. So here what is shown here is people who are in the Rajas Gun, they will do a lot of karma kanda activities, sacrifices in the rituals, as per the Vedic thing. And because their aim is to go to the higher planets, Svargaloka, and to enjoy them. They are the karmis. But the jnanis are the ones who will, instead of doing this, they will cultivate knowledge, because their goal is to be mukti and to and go to the Brahma Jyoti. That is merge into the Brahma Jyoti. That is the jnanis. Whereas bhaktas, devotees, they are at the Shuddha Sattva. For them, there is always devotional service. And from that, they will be ultimately reach to the stage of love of God and to Krishna. This is how the three modes are working. But tamas guna will never go to anything. They want. So according to the faith, the living being is said to be a particular faith according to the modes of Yasakoe. Then now he keeps explaining about the faith and the lifestyle and all that. So Krishna says, Ejante satvika devan, eksha rakshasami rajasaha, pretan bhuta ganamsa chanya, ejante tamasa janaha. So when in the mode of goodness, what do? They worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons. And those in the mode of ignorance, they will worship ghosts or spirits. So they have different. So they have faith in demigods, the mode of goodness. They worship the demigods. Those in the mode of, and this also we saw in the previous chapters. Also Krishna has said, mode of passion worship the demons. Those in the mode of thing. So according to one's faith, their people worship. They have their own way of worshipping the gods. But now he talks about the austerities. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances, they are not recommended in the scriptures, but performing them out of pride, egoism, lust and attachment, who are impelled by passion and who torture their bodily organs, as well as the supreme soul, super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. So, see, there are people who do this such type of yogas, in Kumbh Mela and all, we see that kind. So that kind of austerities is not required, what is their thing, but they would like out of pride. They want to show they can do such mystic powers, the egoism. And here we see Ravana, is doing the Kailasha, he can lift it. And there is Hiranyakashipu is doing tapas, and there's an anthill growing there. His body is emancipated. And all these people have, they're known to be misled mentality. There's not the Krishna conscious, there are misled mentality because they want to have some powers, something they are passion. So they are impelled by passion and they torture their bodily organs. Okay. And they are known as, to be known as demons. That's what Krishna says here. Now he talks about the food, how they eat. Foods in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life and purify one's existence, give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such nourishing foods are sweet, juicy, fattening, and palatable. So we see foods also, there are different modes of nature. Foods in the mode of goodness, what they do, it increases your ayu, bala, and purifies, sattva, and it purifies you. But there are foods that are very bitter, too sour, salty, pungent, hot, and they are liked by the people in the modes of passion. Such foods cause pain, distress, and disease because it's not good for the health. But food, when you take in excess, food cooked more than 3 hours before being eaten, which is tasteless, stale, puerile, decomposed, unclean, is food liked by people in the mode of ignorance. So here also he distinguishes the diet, how the foods will affect the way of faith. So, and also there's a famous saying, we are what we eat, isn't it? So they say, but foods in the mode of goodness is good for ayu, it increases our life, sattva, because it purifies our existence and gives us strength, okay, and happiness. So that's what he talked about the food of sacrifices. Now comes to the sacrifice. That sacrifice performed according to duty and to scriptural rules and with no expectation of reward is of the nature of goodness. And what is being recommended for Kali Yuga is the Sankirtana Yajna, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is a sacrifice which is recommended in the Shastras. So if they perform it according to the duty and the scriptural rules, then with no expectation for reward is the nature of goodness. Okay. So according to one's faith, people will absorb their sacrifice. So it depends upon their faith in what they have, and also it depends on their nature. But that sacrifice performed for some material gain and benefit or performed ostensibly just to show off out of pride that I am doing such a big yajna here and it is for some material benefit, or you want to show people that you are doing it such an elaborate sacrifice. Oh, for Bharata, they are in the nature of passion. Okay. But there are some people who do sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptural injunctions, in which no spiritual food is distributed, no hymns are chanted, no remunerations are made to the priest, and which is faithless. That sacrifice is of the nature of ignorance. Here, whom do you see? This is an example of Bhashmasura. No? What he wanted, he did a lot of tapas. And what it was this tapas, he used to cut part of his flesh and all, put it in the fire, and because he was praying for them. And that kind of thing is never recommended in the scriptures. Okay. And you don't see any brahmanas here or any mantras being chanted or anything. And his and what is his focus? He wanted to get a benediction. Finally, Shiva will come and give him the benediction. And the benediction was that if he touches anybody's head, that person should die. Bhasmasura. So they will, such things will only produce a demonic mentality. And it just harms the others. It's not the right way of sacrifice. So Deva Dvijad Guru Prajna Pujanam Sauchajam Archavam Brahmacharyam Ahimsa cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. So now, after talking about the faith, according to the faith, we saw now what the foods they eat, and according to the modes, they are the sacrifices. Now he is talking about the austerities. How to achieve anything in the world, one must undergo some austerity. We always do that. We do work very hard to lead up comfortable later. So we work very hard for pleasure, immediate pleasure, and sacrifice immediate pleasure and comfort for the purpose for the long-term work. So now there are people who place faith in different things. They will perform different austerities in life. So now he's talking about the beneficial austerities, which is pertaining to the body, mind, and words. Now he's talking that. So what is the austerity of the body? It consists in worshipping of the Supreme Lord, Brahmanas, spiritual master, and superiors like father, mother. Apart from that, it should be cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence are also austerities of the body. So these are the things which are done in the mode of goodness. Then Anudvega Kharam Vakyam Satyam Priya Hitam Chayet Swadhyaya Bhishanam Chaiva Vanmayam Tapa Ujjate. So now what is he talking? Austerity of speech. So austerity of speech consists in speaking truthfully, okay, and beneficially, and in avoiding speech that offends. One should also recite the Vedas regularly. So speak truthfully means that we should not, just because you are telling the truth, we should not tell it in such a way that it's hurting other people. Okay, it should not be like that. And it should be, the talk should be something like, it will be beneficial to them. And we should try to avoid speech that will offend. So that is what austerity of speech. That means speech is something everyone will like to talk. Everyone likes to talk, that talking is something we all like. We talking. Whether to talk, we should not gossip for the thing, and nor should we do any manipulating type of work for our selfish thing. And we should not lie and agitate somebody, hurt somebody. So we should have a austerity of speech. So we should have a urge of speaking is there in every one of us. We should also follow that. So he's telling Krishna, speaking truthfully, beneficially, and avoiding speech that offends. So this is a penance of speech. We saw penance of the body. Now penance. And serenity, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purity of thought are the austerities of the mind. So we thought about the body, speech, and mind. So which are beneficial to us. That's what Krishna is talking. Being serene, simple, self-controlled, and to have purity of thought. So that is austeritism. So people who are more of goodness, when they follow, they'll be more calm and content. Whereas people in passion, they're always dissatisfied, they're anxious, and mode of ignorance, they're bewildered. Okay. So here is the scene. What we are showing here is about the Shukadev Goswami. He's the one who was in his mother's womb for 16 years. He wouldn't come out, because it was he didn't want to get come out of the thing to the material world. So finally, Krishna will say, I will let you, you please come out. So when he comes out, he'll be in the age of 16. For 16 years, he was in his mother's womb. That is and Vedvyasa was his father. Okay. But as soon as he born, he just runs out of the ashram. He doesn't stay a minute with his parents. He wants to go off to the forest. While going, then his father will be there behind shouting for the son, please come back, come back. And this, when he passes, there'll be a group of ladies having the bath. When he passes, when Shukadev Goswami passes, they don't bother because they see him to be a very ignorant and very childlike. He doesn't even look at them and that with the sex or anything in his eyes. Okay. So they don't. But when they see Vedas coming, then immediately they go and cover their bodies. So that is the difference, because Vedas, though he was liberated, he was a householder, and for him, he could distinguish men and women and things, whereas Shukadev Goswami. So he was in mode of Shuddha Gudva. He was already a liberated soul. So that's how it is. They are the austerities of the body, mind, and speech we saw. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat tri vidam naraha aplakanspiti yuktahi satvikam parichakshate. The threefold austerity practiced by men whose aim is not to benefit themselves materially, but to please the Supreme, is of the nature of goodness. So they're the ones who body, speech, and mind. They're threefold austerities. If they not aim is not to benefit themselves materially, but to please the Lord. That will be the people who are the nature of goodness. So those ostentatious penances and austerities which are performed in order to gain respect, honor, and reverence are said to be in the mode of passion. They are neither stable nor permanent. Okay, only for self-glorification. Satkara mana pujatam. Satkara mana pujatam tapo dambena chaivayat. Kritati tad iha proktam rajasam chalam hadru. That means they want only respect, honor, and reverence. For that, they will do the penances and austerities so that people can respect them and worship them. So they are the people in the mode of passion. So they are neither stable or permanent, because it's for self-glorification, isn't it? So that's what they said. There are different kind of people. So they will follow austerities according to their own beliefs and faith. So Muda Granat Manaha Yat Pidaya Kritaya Kriyate Tapaha Parishodhatam Va Tat Tamasam Hudat. So those penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture or to destroy or injure others are said to be in the mode of ignorance. Here we saw Hiranyakashipu who is doing so much penances and austerities. All for what? He wants to get benediction from Brahmaji that he should escape death. So that was, and then later he becomes with the power to destroy others. So these are the things. So they will go to every very extreme type of austerities they do, so that they get more powers, more benedictions, and that will only for destroying others. So this is a very simple thing, but he goes into very detail to tell us the reality. Krishna is explaining all this because it's not, there will be people in between who have these things, and what kind of faith and austerities is good for us, that also he told. And then he's telling about how people in different modes, they do it. People in mode of passion is only for self-glorification, whereas people in tamas gun, they only want power to destroy others. So now comes to charity. That Datavayam iti yaddanam diyate anupakarne desha kale cha patre cha tad danam satvikam smrata. So that gift which is given out of duty at the proper time and place to worthy persons. See, it's very good. To worthy persons and without expectation of return is considered to be charity in the mode of goodness. So if you do charity, we should be very careful that we are doing it for the worthy people and it's at the proper time and place. Okay, and without expectation of return. So you might not have any expectations, but if you don't give it to the worthy people, then you will be sharing the sinful reactions. So we have to be very, very discriminate in giving our charity. Okay, so here he is clearly telling what is the charity in the mode of goodness. So this is how, and helping people and all is something like we have that innate. This our nature is there. Many people's natures are there to help others. It's not something that to be taught or thing. But some people will help more, and while some people will help less. Okay, that is there. But helping nature is there in everybody. They will be serving someone or the other. That helping nature is there. But if that thing is for selfish reasons or with some expectation, then it is not right. So that is what here Krishna is telling. And here we see Vasudev, Nanda Maharaj giving a lot of charity when Krishna was born. So charity given out of thing without expectation is in the mode of goodness. But yet to pratyupakaratam phalam udishya va punaha dhyate cha parikshlistam tad danam rajasam smrata. But charity performed with expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mode is said to be charity in the mode of passion. So here we see, this picture is very explicitly shown, and I think we saw many of such things during the COVID period. A lot of ministers as showing off how they are being very helpful to the people. And in fact, the bag which was giving the food and all, it had their name and their party's emblem and things like that. So these are the things charity is done in the mode of passion. Adesha kale yad danam apradescha diyate asaktram avajanitam tam tat tamasam udhat. And charity performed to an improper place and time and given to unworthy persons without respect and with contempt is charity in the mode of ignorance. So here he wants help for what? For drugs and things. So we should be very careful while giving charity. That's what here we learn from this, from Krishna. Okay, he's telling that type of thing is done in the mode of ignorance. So we saw what all we saw in the faith, depending on the faith, how they worship the demigods or they worship the Bhutas or the thing. And we saw their food habits, that is Sattva Guna, Rajas Guna and Tamas Guna, the food also in the three modes of nature, and the sacrifices, and sacrifices done for glorification, and sacrifices done with some demonic mentality. And then, and also if it is against the scriptures, then it's not good. Then we saw the austerities, three austerities, okay? Austerities of body, speech, and mind. So we saw that. And then we saw the charity also. So now Krishna is concluding how to do it for the benefit, which is the best way of doing these things. So from the beginning of creation, the three syllables Om Tat Sat have been used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. So it is essential that all these activities, what all he has described, that how do we do it so that we can reach to the Lord. So he's talking about the Om Tat Sat that has been used to indicate supreme absolute truth. They were uttered by Brahmanas while chanting Vedic hymns and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. So now we saw that even if you do in the mode of goodness or passion or ignorance, you'll always have karmic reactions. Okay. Then how do we come out of that? So now that's what is going to be, what he's going to say in this next three verses. So he's talking about the home. So is there a, if thus the transcendentalists undertake sacrifices, charities and penances, beginning always with Om to attain the Supreme. So that's what the Vedic scriptures say. What is the Om iti etad brahmo nedishtam namaha. Om means Vishnu. It is placed at the beginning of Vedic hymns to indicate the supreme goal. So that is what the thing is. It's just people might just chant the mantras with like a parrot, but the meaning of the Om is given clearly here. Krishna says it means Vishnu. It is placed at the beginning of Vedic hymns to indicate the supreme goal. That means whatever activities we do, it should have that. When we start with Om, that means it is for the Lord. One should perform sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from the material entanglement. Tat Tvam Ashi. It says in the Chandogya Upanishad. Okay, there it means that describes detached work for the sake of liberation. These activities are done with disregard for material results. So one means that the goal of our, what is the activities, it should be for the Supreme Lord, and it should be done for the detached work without any regard for the fruitive results. Okay, that is what that summary. Then absolute truth is the objective of devotional service, and it is indicated by the word Sat. These works of sacrifice, of penance and charity, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person or Son of Pratham. So Sad, and it is given in the Chandogya Upanishad. Sadyeva Saumya. Sat means eternal. Activities done for the service of the Lord reveal the true spiritual nature. In such activity, the performer of actions becomes eternal. So the activities are aimed at the eternal, and the benefits of the activities are eternal. So now, after talking about all about the faith, how each person who will, their nature, they will accordingly they have the faith. Then finally, he concludes that sacrifices, austerities, and charities performed without faith in the Supreme are non-permanent. It's useless, regardless of whatever rites are performed. They are called asat and are useless both in this life and the next. So now we found how he has described how persons' affiliation to a particular mode will determine the type of faith they have and how they worship and how they austerities if they perform, and the type of austerities, and also we saw the charity in three modes. So finally, what is concluding here is the best course is to, instead of going through the step by step, gradually elevate ourselves by purifying our activities and all that through the Vedic inscriptions. The best way, it is concluded that best course is to work from the very beginning in Krishna consciousness. The minute you do that, and how do we do that? Under the guidance of a spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master. So that way, what happens, we'll make everything successful. And the training we get by the training under the spiritual master, we can achieve faith in the Supreme. And when that faith matures in course of time, it will be called love for God. So this is how the conclusion. So now what I find in this Bhagavad Gita is every aspect, whatever angle, every angle is being covered by Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna keeps asking the questions and he's clarifying. So here the question was, what happens to people have some faith, but it may not be as per the scriptures. They'll have unauthorized worship. What happens to such people? Then Krishna answers, it depends upon the modes of nature, and that only determines on the what type of faith they'll have and how they worship, and also accordingly their lifestyle and everything also he explains here. Okay, and then he talked about the three kinds of austerity, the charity in the three modes, and finally he concludes that all these activities, if you done, offer it to the Supreme Lord and do it, then that is more beneficial and it is permanent results you get. Om Tat Sat, he explains that. So that is what we understood. Then we saw the aspects of our lifestyles, food, faith, worship. It's a very short chapter today. Food, faith, worship, austerities, charity, and with proper guidance, that is by spiritual master, we can work the thing. And the best way is to have Krishna consciousness. So then we will be free from material entanglement and attachments, and they are perfect all our activities. And Bhagavad Gita is like a self-improvement book. It has everything one needs to know, and we can design our own destiny. So that is what, if we follow this, understand this, whatever we have been learning from Bhagavad Gita, good. So, and I think it will be put up in the level 2 class. I'm just reminding once again, and I think it must be given in the thing, but I can confirm to you tomorrow about the level 2 course in the register. Okay. With this, I will close. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu ave evacha patitam nam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I hope you all are chanting, and I want you all to be happy.